Chapter 1. The Last Ember. Part 5. The golden eye did not blink. It simply watched. The moonlight vanished beneath the immense shadow stretching across the valley. Every rooftop, every field, every lonely dirt road beyond Ash Hollow disappeared beneath a darkness so complete that even the stars seemed afraid to shine. The storyteller stood frozen in his doorway. The silver feather rested in his trembling hands. It was warm, not warm like sunlight. Warm, like something alive. A faint pulse traveled through the shaft of the feather and into his fingertips. One heartbeat, then another. His breathing caught. It was beating in time with the heartbeat that had echoed beneath the world. Above the clouds, the sky leviathan drifted in absolute silence. Its true form could not be seen all at once. The creature was simply too immense. Its body stretched for miles, disappearing into layers of mist and moonlight. Ancient forests grew across its broad back. Entire rivers shimmered along its ridges. Ruined temples crowned its shoulders, swallowed by moss and time. Great crystalline formations protruded from its spine like mountain peaks, catching the moonlight and scattering it across the heavens. It looked less like an animal, and more like a continent that had decided to fly. Its single visible eye scanned the valley below, searching, waiting, remembering. Far below, the storyteller whispered, "It isn't hunting." His voice cracked. "It's looking for something." Across the village, people cautiously opened shutters and peeked through narrow cracks in their doors. No one dared step outside. Every instinct screamed that remaining unseen was the only chance of survival. The village priest fell to his knees inside the small stone chapel. "The Creator protect us." His prayer echoed through the empty sanctuary. The candles around the altar extinguished one by one. The room grew cold. Then, every stained glass window depicting saints and kings suddenly fractured. Not from impact. Every stained glass window depicting saints and kings suddenly fractured. Not from impact. From vibration. Tiny cracks spread across every image. One panel shattered completely. The face of the ancient king collapsed into glittering fragments across the floor. The priest stared in disbelief. No, this place was blessed. Then he noticed something impossible. The broken pieces no longer resembled a king. Together, they formed a different face. One he had never seen before. A woman, crowned not with gold, but with 7 rings of light. Miles away, the hooded traveler stood at the edge of Asterian's central plaza. The city remained silent. Yet he no longer felt alone. He could hear footsteps. Not behind him. Around him. Hundreds. Thousands. Armor clinking softly. Boots marching across stone. Voices carried by a wind that no longer existed. Ghosts. Or memories. He slowly closed his eyes. The plaza came alive. The empty streets filled with soldiers clad in silver armor. Children laughed beside fountains of liquid crystal. Merchants crossed magnificent bridges carrying glowing fruit unlike anything that grew in the modern world. Music echoed from distant balconies. Life. A civilization at its height. Then, everything changed. The sky darkened. A great horn sounded. People began running. Parents searched desperately for their children. The fountains turned crimson. The traveler opened his eyes. The vision vanished. The city returned to silence. Only one sentence lingered within the air. A woman's voice. Soft. Heartbroken. "We should never have opened it." At the heart of Asterian stood a colossal tower. Unlike every other structure in the city, it remained untouched by age. Its smooth black surface reflected no light. No doorway could be seen. No windows. Only a single circular symbol engraved near its base. 7 fractured rings. The same symbol carved upon the ancient gate beneath the crown of ash. The traveler approached. He removed his right glove. His hand bore no scars. Instead, ancient lines of golden light stretched from his fingertips to his wrist, like veins forged from molten metal. He placed his palm against the tower. Nothing happened. Then, the city awakened. Golden light burst beneath every street. Thousands of crystalline lanterns ignited. Tower after tower illuminated the valley. Ancient bridges glowed with flowing streams of radiant energy. For the first time in 10,000 years, Asterian lived again. Far above, the sky leviathan stopped moving. Its enormous eye slowly turned toward the glowing city. Recognition. Not surprise. Recognition. Then, it bowed. a movement so subtle that the clouds themselves bent around its immense form. The traveler lowered his head in return. "So, you remember me too." Deep beneath the crown of ash, the widening fracture within the gate pulsed once. The darkness beyond shifted violently. A voice emerged, no longer a whisper, still faint, but unmistakably a voice. It did not speak to the guardians. It spoke past them, past the stone, past the mountains, into the world above. "He has returned." Every guardian stiffened. The eldest slowly closed its eyes. "It knows." Another guardian gripped its spear. "Then there is no more time." The eldest turned toward a narrow tunnel leading upward. "Send the watchers. They must find the last witness. And if we are too late?" The ancient guardian looked back toward the fractured gate. Its ancient face carried an expression no living creature had seen in ages. Fear. "Then this age will end exactly as the first one did." Back in Ash Hollow, the storyteller still clutched the silver feather. Without warning, it dissolved, not into ash, into tiny motes of golden light. They drifted upward, then gathered into the shape of a bird no larger than a raven. The creature was translucent. Its feathers shimmered like starlight reflected upon water. It looked at the storyteller with startling intelligence. Then it spoke, not aloud. Inside his mind. "Follow." The bird turned toward the mountain road. It waited. The storyteller looked back at his home, at the life he had always known, the warm hearth, the shelves filled with books, the quiet certainty that tomorrow would be much like today. That life had ended the moment the traveler arrived. He wrapped his grandfather's journal in cloth, slung a worn satchel over his shoulder, tucked the mysterious map safely inside. Then, without another word, he stepped out into the night. The bird of living light took flight ahead of him, weaving silently between the ancient pines. Each time it passed, dead branches sprouted tiny green leaves. Flowers bloomed where its light touched the ground. Hope, in a world beginning to drown in darkness. Far behind him, no one noticed a lone figure standing atop the village watchtower, wrapped in black armor that reflected no moonlight, its face hidden behind a smooth obsidian mask. It had been watching the storyteller from the moment he opened his door. Slowly, the armored stranger raised 2 fingers to the side of its helm. A faint crimson glow answered from somewhere far beyond the horizon. A calm, emotionless voice echoed beneath the mask. "The witness has begun moving." A pause. Then another voice, older, colder, almost mechanical, answered from across an impossible distance. "Do not engage. Observe. Others are already hunting him." The armored figure looked toward the mountains, where Asterian's golden light had begun to pierce the night sky. For the first time in centuries, the game had begun, and every player on the board had just made their opening move. Chapter 1. The Last Ember. Part 6. The wind returned. Not as a gentle breeze, as a whisper. It threaded itself through the towering pines like invisible fingers, carrying voices too faint to understand. Every branch swayed in perfect rhythm, as though the forest itself had begun breathing. The storyteller followed the bird of living light deeper into the wilderness. Behind him, Ash Hollow disappeared beneath the trees. Ahead, the mountain path narrowed until it became little more than broken stone winding between ancient roots. The bird never flew more than 20 paces ahead. Whenever he slowed, it waited. Whenever he stumbled, it circled back, almost patiently. Hours passed. The moon climbed higher. Clouds drifted silently over its pale face. The storyteller leaned heavily against his walking staff. "I can't keep this pace." The bird landed upon a moss-covered stone. Its glowing feathers dimmed. It tilted its head, almost sympathetically. Then, the forest answered. Leaves rustled. Branches cracked. The storyteller's heart leapt into his throat. He tightened his grip on the iron poker he had carried from his fireplace. "Who's there?" Silence. Another snap. Closer. Something moved between the trees. Large. Much larger than a bear. The bird spread its wings. Golden light expanded outward in a gentle circle. The darkness retreated. From behind the ancient oak stepped a stag. Yet no ordinary stag. Its antlers resembled living crystal. Veins of silver light flowed beneath translucent skin. Its eyes shone with calm blue radiance. It approached without fear. The storyteller stood motionless. The magnificent creature stopped only a few feet away. It lowered its head, not in aggression. In respect, the storyteller slowly reached out. His fingertips brushed the creature's forehead. Instantly, a vision exploded across his mind. He stood upon a battlefield beneath a sky split by fire. Thousands of banners snapped violently in impossible winds. Golden-armored warriors stretched to every horizon. Across from them, an army of shadows. Not soldiers, shapes, creatures without faces, without form. Behind the golden army stood 7 colossal towers surrounding a brilliant sphere suspended above the earth. The heart beyond the veil. Even from miles away, its light hurt to look upon. A man stood before the armies. His armor gleamed like polished sunlight. A crown of living flame hovered above his brow. He raised a sword forged from white fire. His voice thundered across the world. Stand fast, for today, we defend not kingdoms, but creation itself. Millions answered with a deafening roar. Then, the vision shattered. The storyteller collapsed onto the forest floor, gasping. The stag stepped back. Its expression remained strangely sorrowful. The bird landed beside him. He looked at both creatures in disbelief. Those weren't dreams. The bird answered with a single word inside his thoughts. Memory. Elsewhere, the hooded traveler climbed the black tower within Asterion. Its interior had opened after recognizing the ancient markings upon his hand. No stairs, no doors, only a spiral of floating stone platforms suspended around a vast hollow chamber. Each platform illuminated as he approached, each extinguished behind him. High above, a faint blue light waited. The summit. As he climbed, murals emerged from the darkness. Not painted, carved directly into the walls. They depicted the rise of humanity. The first cities. The forging of the 7 crowns. The taming of dragons. The founding of Asterion. Then, the murals changed. Kings argued. Crowns cracked. Brothers fought brothers. Magic consumed entire nations. One carving stopped the traveler in his tracks. 7 figures stood around a circular altar. One seat remained empty. His eyes lingered upon the empty place. I remember, he whispered, but I wish I didn't. Halfway across the continent, the first royal messenger reached the kingdom of Veildorn. The castle gates swung open. Trumpets announced the arrival of the White Bastion's rider. Within moments, the king sat upon his throne reading the silver-sealed message. His expression darkened. He stood immediately, summoned the High Marshal. Ready the Western legions. The queen frowned. Surely this is unnecessary. The king quietly handed her the scroll. She read the single sentence. Her face lost all color. You believe it? I prayed I'd never have to. Far beneath the crown of ash, the Watchers awakened. Unlike the towering guardians, the Watchers were made for speed. Tall, lean, their armor resembled overlapping obsidian feathers. Their faces remained hidden behind featureless masks of white stone. Each carried a spear whose blade shimmered with blue fire. 100 stood in perfect silence. The eldest guardian approached. You know your duty. The Watchers lowered their heads. Find the last witness. Protect him. If he falls. The guardian paused. There will be no second dawn. Without another word, the Watchers dissolved, not vanished. Their bodies became streams of blue light that raced upward through cracks in the mountain, like shooting stars traveling beneath the earth. The storyteller slowly regained his footing. The stag had already disappeared. Only glowing hoofprints remained. The bird continued deeper into the forest. After another hour, the trees abruptly ended. He stepped into a clearing. His breath caught. Before him stood a colossal archway carved from white stone. Its pillars rose nearly 100 feet into the sky, covered from top to bottom in unfamiliar runes. No walls connected to it. No road passed beneath it. It simply stood alone, waiting. The bird flew beneath the arch. The runes ignited. One after another. Soft golden light spread across the stone. The storyteller hesitated. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Slow, measured, crunching across fallen leaves. He turned. 5 figures emerged from the darkness. Each wore black cloaks embroidered with crimson thread. Their faces remained hidden beneath smooth porcelain masks. Not one carried a torch, yet they moved with perfect confidence through the night. The tallest among them stepped forward. His voice echoed strangely, as though 2 people spoke in perfect unison. You carry the journal of Elias. The storyteller instinctively tightened his satchel. Who are you? The masked figure ignored the question. Hand it to us, and you may yet live to see tomorrow. The storyteller looked toward the glowing archway, then back toward the masked strangers. The bird circled frantically overhead. Its golden light flashed brighter than ever before. Inside his mind, one desperate command rang louder than any voice he had ever heard. Run. And as the first masked hunter reached for the hilt of a blade unlike any forged by modern hands, the ancient archway behind the storyteller awakened completely. A deep, resonant hum rolled through the clearing. The air shimmered. The space beneath the arch rippled like the surface of a still lake. A doorway, not through stone, but through reality itself, had just opened. Chapter 1. The Last Ember. Part 7. The world seemed to hold its breath. The shimmering gateway beneath the archway rippled like liquid glass, reflecting neither the moon nor the stars. Instead, impossible images flickered across its surface. Towering cities suspended among clouds. A sea glowing beneath 3 moons. An army of silver banners stretching beyond the horizon. Then, darkness. The visions vanished. Only the doorway remained. The 5 masked hunters stopped. Not from fear. From surprise. The tallest slowly tilted his porcelain mask toward the glowing arch. So, he whispered, it still functions. Another hunter rested a hand upon the curved blade hanging at his side. That should not be possible. The tallest answered without taking his eyes from the portal. Many things that should not be possible have awakened tonight. The storyteller's pulse thundered inside his ears. The bird wheeled frantically above him. Its golden feathers scattered sparks of light with every beat of its wings. Again, the command echoed inside his mind. Run. He didn't hesitate. Clutching his satchel against his chest, he sprinted toward the impossible doorway. The lead hunter moved with terrifying speed. One heartbeat, he stood 20 paces away. The next, he was already reaching for the storyteller. His cloak dissolved into black smoke before reforming behind him. The distance between them disappeared. The storyteller stumbled. A gloved hand closed around the strap of his satchel. Leather-strained. The old man cried out. His grandfather's journal nearly slipped free. Then, a golden arrow streaked through the darkness. It struck the hunter's arm. Not piercing. Exploding. A burst of brilliant light erupted across the clearing. The hunter recoiled instantly. Smoke hissed from his black gauntlet. For the first time, he screamed. Not in pain. In surprise. What? Standing atop the ancient archway, a lone figure lowered an impossibly long bow. Moonlight caught silver armor etched with flowing patterns that resembled vines and constellations intertwined. A deep emerald cloak fluttered behind broad shoulders. The hood concealed the stranger's face. Only one feature could be seen. Eyes, both glowing with soft sapphire light. The newcomer calmly drew another arrow. Unlike ordinary arrows, this shaft appeared woven entirely from living crystal. Its tip shone like a captured star. The mysterious archer spoke. Their voice was calm, clear, ancient. The first accord still stands. The masked hunter stiffened. One whispered, a watcher. Another quietly stepped backward. Impossible. The lead hunter slowly lowered his smoking arm. I thought your order had become extinct. The archer answered. So did you. Without another word, the crystal arrow flew. Time itself seemed to slow. The shaft left a ribbon of blue light behind it as it crossed the clearing. The lead hunter raised his blade. Steel met crystal. The impact erupted like thunder. A shock wave tore through the forest. Trees bent violently. Leaves exploded into the air. The storyteller was thrown to the ground only a few feet from the shimmering gateway. His ears rang. The world blurred. When his vision cleared, the hunter had been pushed backward nearly 30 feet. Deep grooves carved through the earth beneath his boots. His porcelain mask bore a single crack. Tiny, yet unmistakable. The hunter reached toward it. His fingers stopped trembling only after several long breaths. He looked back toward the archer. There was no anger in his voice now. Only respect. You've remembered how to fight. The archer stepped gracefully from the top of the archway. Instead of falling, they landed without a sound. The glowing bow dissolved into countless particles of blue light before reforming upon their back. The storyteller stared in disbelief. The newcomer couldn't have been much older than 30. Yet there was something timeless about the way they moved. Like every step had been practiced over centuries. They glanced toward the storyteller without taking their eyes off the hunters. Can you still walk? I. The old man nodded weakly. I think so. Good. Because if you stay here. A faint smile crossed the watcher's lips. You'll die? The lead hunter slowly straightened. The witness is ours. The watcher shook their head. No. The witness belongs to no one. Another masked hunter unsheathed 2 curved blades. We outnumber you. The watcher's expression never changed. You misunderstand. They looked skyward. I'm not alone. The night exploded. Blue streaks tore across the heavens. Not meteors. Figures. 1, 5, 10, 20. Dozens of radiant lights descended toward the forest. Each struck the earth silently. When the light faded, more watchers stood among the trees. Every one carried different weapons. Spears, great swords, twin daggers, massive shields. Each armor set unique. Each bearing the same sapphire glow. Not one spoke. The masked hunters slowly spread into a defensive formation. For the first time since entering the clearing, their confidence faltered. Far above, hidden beyond the clouds, the sky Leviathan watched. Its vast eye reflected the battle below. Then, it did something no creature of its size should have been capable of. It sang. The sound was impossibly deep. Not loud. Ancient. The note rolled across the mountains, through the forests, over rivers and valleys alike. Every living creature stopped to listen. Wolves lifted their heads. Owls ceased hunting. Even the wind itself seemed to follow the melody. The storyteller felt tears filling his eyes. He did not know why. The song felt familiar, like remembering a home he had never visited. The watchers lowered their heads in reverence. The masked hunters, however, reacted very differently. Several staggered backward. One dropped his weapon entirely. The lead hunter whispered in horror. No, it has awakened too. At that exact moment, miles away, inside the black tower of Asterion, the hooded traveler reached the summit. At the center of the chamber rested a pedestal carved from flawless white stone. Upon it lay a single object, a sword. Its blade shimmered like polished starlight. Its guard resembled outstretched wings. Chapter 1. The Last Ember. Part 8. The words echoed through the abyss. The keeper has returned. For the first time since the world had forgotten its own beginning. Even the gate fell silent. The ancient guardians lowered their weapons. Not in surrender, in reverence. Because there were names that carried power. And there were names that changed history. Above the gate, countless runes ignited one after another, spreading across the cavern walls like rivers of molten gold. Symbols older than language awakened from their 10,000-year slumber. The eldest guardian watched them carefully. They remember him. One of the younger guardians turned. If the keeper truly lives, then perhaps we still have hope. The elder slowly shook his massive head. Hope is always the first casualty of war. The darkness beyond the fractured gate shifted. A shape approached, still hidden, still imprisoned, yet undeniably moving closer. Every step it took caused mountains above to tremble. The guardians braced themselves, not because they intended to fight, because they knew, if the gate failed now, there would be nothing left to defend. Far above, the watchers and the masked hunters remained locked in silent confrontation. Neither side dared strike first. The sky Leviathan's song still lingered across the valley. The melody had become softer now, almost mournful. The storyteller realized something. The creature wasn't singing to the people below. It was singing to someone else, someone far away. Inside Asterion, the keeper stood motionless. The ancient sword rested comfortably within his grasp. It felt impossibly light, as though recognizing its rightful master. Golden lines spread slowly across the blade. One by one, runes appeared where polished steel had once reflected only darkness. The keeper closed his eyes. Immediately, the memories returned. Not pieces. Everything. He remembered standing atop the highest tower of Asterion as children laughed in the streets below. He remembered festivals beneath skies filled with dragons that soared peacefully among floating gardens. He remembered the 7 thrones gathered together for the final time. He remembered friends, brothers, sisters, heroes. He remembered their names. Then, he remembered losing them, one after another. The Great War had not claimed kingdoms. It had claimed everyone. His grip tightened around the sword. The tears that filled his eyes were not those of fear. They were the tears of the last man alive who remembered an entire civilization. I failed you. His voice barely escaped. I failed all of you. A warm breeze swept through the chamber. Impossible. The tower had no windows. Yet the wind carried a familiar voice. Gentle. Kind. You came back. His breathing stopped. He turned. No one stood there. Only countless motes of golden light drifting through the chamber. The voice continued. You always said, if even one remembered, then we were never truly gone. The keeper smiled through his grief. I still don't know if that's enough. The light drifted toward the open sky. It has to be. Then, it vanished. Outside Asterion, the enormous sky Leviathan slowly descended. Clouds rolled away from its immense body. For the first time in living memory, the world saw one clearly. Entire mountain ranges stretched across its back. Waterfalls poured endlessly from ancient cliffs growing upon its shell. Great forests swayed gently beneath moonlight. Ruined temples crowned its shoulders. It was beautiful, not terrifying. Beautiful in the way stars or oceans inspire awe. The keeper stepped onto the highest balcony. The colossal creature lowered its head. Neither spoke. Neither needed to. They had known one another before history began. The Leviathan's immense eye reflected the keeper standing alone against the dawn. Within that reflection, the keeper no longer appeared as a lone traveler. He wore brilliant white armor trimmed in gold. A long cloak bearing 7 intertwined stars flowed behind him. A crown, not of metal, but of living light, hovered faintly above his brow. The reflection showed not who he was, but who he had once been. The keeper whispered one name. Aurelios. The Leviathan answered with a low, resonant call that rolled across the mountains like distant thunder. It was a greeting between two survivors of a forgotten age. Back at the ancient gateway, the lead-masked hunter slowly lowered his blade. We are withdrawing. The watcher did not relax. You leave too easily. The hunter's cracked porcelain mask turned toward the mountains. The game has changed. Our masters will want to know. He looked directly at the storyteller. We'll meet again. When we do, bring stronger allies. The hunters stepped backward. One by one, their forms dissolved into drifting black ash before disappearing entirely. Within seconds, only silence remained. The watchers did not celebrate. Their commander approached the storyteller. Up close, the sapphire glow within their eyes seemed almost gentle. You carry Elias's journal? The storyteller nodded. I do. Good. You don't understand it yet. No. You will. The old man hesitated. Who are you? The watcher removed their hood. The storyteller expected an old warrior. Instead, he saw a young woman, perhaps 30 years old. Long silver hair framed a face marked by a single sapphire tattoo beneath her left eye. She smiled warmly. My name, she paused, as it is spoken today, is Lyra. The storyteller repeated it softly. Lyra. She nodded. It isn't my first name. It probably won't be my last. The storyteller frowned. How old are you? For the first time, Lyra laughed. A genuine laugh. It carried both joy and sadness. I stopped counting. The bird of living light landed upon her shoulder. It chirped happily. Lyra gently stroked its feathers. You've chosen well. The bird looked proudly toward the storyteller. He wasn't my first choice. The storyteller blinked. You can understand it? All watchers can. What did it say? Lyra grinned. It said you complain too much when walking uphill. The old storyteller stared at the bird in mock offense. You little traitor. The bird puffed out its glowing chest. Several watchers quietly smiled. For the first time since the impossible night had begun, laughter echoed through the forest. Brief, soft, human. It reminded everyone why they were fighting. Then, the laughter died. Every watcher looked toward the eastern horizon. The sun should have been rising. Instead, the dawn stopped. Half the sky glowed with morning light. The other half remained locked in endless night. The line between them was perfectly straight, stretching from one end of the world to the other. Day and night existed side by side. Neither moved. Neither yielded. Lyra's smile disappeared. She whispered words that froze every heart present. The veil has begun to tear. Far away, atop Asterion's highest tower, the keeper looked toward the divided sky and knew the first battle of the new age could no longer be avoided. He slowly raised the ancient sword toward the heavens. Across the world, forgotten beacons answered. 1, then 3, then 12, then hundreds. Lights ignited atop ruined towers, beneath ancient seas. inside forgotten temples, and deep within hidden mountain fortresses. The old alliances were awakening.